Also of NBC Sports, good to see you, Cris Collinsworth.
This show is going to show just how inept I really was as a wide receiver. This is going to be fun.
And then also joining us here, a man with 8 Super Bowl rings and a member of the NFL 100 all-time coaching staff. Good to see you, Bill Belichick.
Thanks, Rich. These guys have given me a lot of headaches.
Not one of them who we'll be seeing on the show here later on. Is we've got a lot in store for you. Let's get right to it. The GOAT himself from the San Francisco 49ers, Jerry Rice. 20 NFL seasons, 10-time All-Pro, 3 Super Bowl rings with the 49ers.
He must be the greatest receiver. He's a bad man. Jerry Rice. Oh, what a catch by Rice. Rice is there. Oh, my. A one-handed catch. Jerry Rice stands all alone as #1 in pro football history in touchdown reception.
The owner of nearly every single receiving record known to National Football League man, and he is here tonight. Is it cool that you guys are at the same table? Are we all good?
You want to show me my ring
Cris,
one more time?
I'm good, Cris.
Every time I see him, he goes by. You say, "You want to see your ring again?" Oh, yeah, I'd like to. Yeah.
Are you going? You talking about Super Bowl 23?
I wasn't going to, but go ahead. Give it your best shot. On the final drive of Super Bowl 23, I had a teammate came up to me and said, "We got them now. They haven't moved the ball all day. We got them now. They got to go 90 yards, whatever it was, 3 minutes to go." I was like, "Oh, my God, what are you saying?" I said, "Would you please check the huddle and see if number 16 and number 80 are out there?" And sure enough, the MVP of the game went boop, boop, boop.
Cincinnati leads again 16-13. And it appears the 49ers will start deep in their own end. First down play, Montana. And out of bounds goes Jerry Rice with another catch. Montana to Rice again, and he's out of bounds at the Cincinnati 47. Montana to Rice, he's in the clear. Montana, touchdown, John Taylor. There's the man, Rice. He set the table, and Taylor hit the home run. Jerry Rice, who has caught 12 passes for 222 yards to shatter both reception and yardage records in Super Bowl history.
It was always a challenge with you, Jerry. And
How so?
Well, even when we had the game won, he hit an 83-yarder for us with a minute and a half to go in the game and beat us there in Giants Stadium. So that was brutal. I still dream about that play.
I remember that play well.
You should.
Montana, Rice, he's open. No flags are down. Touchdown.
My gracious. Montana to Jerry Rice with 42 seconds remaining.
They get Jerry Rice out there on Mark Collins. He's covered him all day superbly. Montana, you worry, can he throw the ball? He was only 1 for 4 over 10 yards. He hits this one to Jerry Rice and breaks the game wide open.
We've talked about the greatest runner in the history of the game in Emmett, holds all the records, the greatest receiver now with Jerry. And yet neither one of those guys, would you say, is that freakish athlete. You know, it's one of the things that I always loved about the game of football is there's something else there. And this is about something inside your mind and your heart and your soul. You ever try to explain that to somebody, the difference in what an athlete is and what a football player is?
We talk about the kind of the dictionary. When you put football player up there, there's a picture of a guy. It's not fastest, it's not tallest, it's not biggest bench press, it's football player. And that's where Jerry Rice goes.
That's where he is. That's exactly right.
And the thing for me, it was fear, failure. That was my motivating factor. I never wanted to let the fans down in Mississippi, the fans in San Francisco. I think the first 10 years, basically, I didn't take a vacation.
Now, you're not even out of breath.
No, I'm in good,
How often do you do this?
Every day.
You do this mountain every day?
Well, we run this hill 3 times, then we're on the track for 2 days, and I think it's really starting to pay off for me.
I always wanted to get better, but I never felt like I got to the point where I was the best.
Most of the opponents would use the same word, fear, when they were talking about Jerry Rice. You were amazing.
He's got Rice. He breaks loose. He's going to be gone. I don't think they can catch him. A play that seems to work every time they do it.
And coming from him, that really means a lot because I was not one of those guys during the combine that ran a 4.2, 4.3. So I really got, I really got criticized a lot about my speed, but, Steve Largent, Cris, all of these guys, Dwight Clark, and I would just sit back and watch those guys get separation and catch the ball. But now, once I caught the ball, it's time to do something with it.
Cris Collinsworth, Bill Belichick, and Jerry Rice right here. When we come back, one of your all-time bronze bust up here. The Pro Football Hall of Fame class member of 2018, Randy Moss.
They call me the freak, man. Why they call you the freak? Because I'm a freak of nature.
Fires it deep downfield. Moss! Touchdown, Vikings! Deep in the end zone. Caught! Super freak! Touchdown! That was one of the greatest catches Randy Moss has ever made.
Throw it up above his head. They can't jump with me. Golly!
The 21st overall pick in the 1998 draft, Moss set the single-season record for touchdown catches with 23 in 2007, which I think you remember, Bill Belichick.
Very well.
I bet you do.
For Randy Moss, touchdown reception number 23, an NFL record.
Also a member of the NFL's all-decade team of the aughts. He joins us at NFL Films right now. What do you think of when you see Randy Moss sitting right here, Coach Belichick?
One of the smartest players I've ever coached, certainly the smartest receiver. He taught me more about receiving and the passing game than by far anybody else.
Don't be surprised if they come out and play us a lot of zones since they're not matching, because we'll kill that. Where they're just playing, left side, right side, and they're playing that 3C, that cover one,
right.
Whatever they play. They can't play us like that.
I remember our first meeting when you came in from Oakland, and I've never coached anybody like Randy Moss, and we were talking about single high safety and the running game and all that. And Randy's like, you ain't gonna see any more single high safety. You can forget about that. Like, all right.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, he's telling. Well, because the thing about it was that I really studied the Patriots, their offense, and how they went with their passing game. And I said, Coach, we're going to see cover 2 or them playing the passing game for the whole season. And he thought I was playing, and then the magic started happening.
Yeah, and then it was like, well, we run you on this route, and, it was a post, and Randy's like, well, why do I run a post? The guy's standing right there. Well, what do you want to do? Well, let me either take it here or let me take it across him. So we put in, all the different conversions on the deep routes where if they were where the pattern was headed, he had a two-way go to either go over on the pistol routes and all that. And he ran those incredibly well.
Here's it out, downfield. Randy Moss is there, and he has it. Touchdown!
Jammer is playing an outside technique, so Randy Moss comes off the line, bends into him a little just to hold him, and then runs a slant. This one, he runs a corner. He just comes like he's coming to the inside, fakes to the post, and goes back to the corner. Randy Moss runs great patterns, has great speed, and they make it look so easy. Playing quarterback is hard, getting open is hard. But when you watch them do it, it doesn't look difficult at all, does it?
My first touchdown as a Patriot, I had a hamstring injury. And so throughout the whole month, I've been hearing reports of maybe they should release Randy Moss. It's in the Patriots' best interest if they just let Moss just go. So I called you. We were in a preseason game. We were in Tampa. Mm-hmm. And I said, Coach, are there any reports of you releasing me? You said, hell no. So that gave me confidence because I'm just coming from Oakland. I'm bringing all of this baggage with me. And so I remember my first touchdown, I haven't even opened up because I've been hobbling that hamstring injury. And he said the play where I can go anywhere on the field. So Tom said, Randy, if they play this coverage, where do you want to go? I said, Tom, if they play secret coverage, I'm going immediately all the way across the field. Just wait on me.
Here he is again, like a statue in the pocket. Able to go long for Moss. Moss has his first touchdown as a Patriot.
Tom was on almost on the right side of the hash, and he threw me all the way across to the opposite side of the field. And that's the play the coach was talking about.
They got a linebacker running with him, the safety, and Randy Moss is one of those guys. It doesn't look like he's running full speed, but nobody catches up to him.
Just being able to have my speed later in my career, getting up on those safeties, and they're giving me a 2- and 3-way go, 23 touchdowns.
Yeah, 23 touchdowns. I never had a hamstring problem. Because I'm going to tell you why. Because I was not fast like this guy. 4.25 in the 40.
Randy Moss breaks a tackle, and Randy Moss races down the sideline, and Randy Moss just outruns everybody into the end zone. He is incredible.
Randy Moss could be the fastest player in the NFL.
When you guys got together, when did you know this was going to be a little different? This is a different tool than you've ever had to work with.
Day one. Randy was in Houston, right?
Yep.
We had to make. We were trading a 4th-round pick with the Raiders, and this conversation with myself and Mr. Davis has been going on for like a month.
With you and the Raiders.
Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now we're down to like 12 hours before the second day of the draft.
For Sunday. So my phone rings. I'm in line, getting ready to go into the club. And so my phone rings, and I didn't know the number. So I said, excuse me, I got to step away. Hello, who is this? Hey, this is Bill Belichick. So, who? It's Bill Belichick. I said, man, stop playing on my phone, and I hung the phone up. So then he calls me back probably within 60 seconds, and he said, no, Randy, this is Bill. So, I hung up on the coach. And,
wow. Can I ask one question? You were in line for the club? I'm just saying, you're like Randy Moss. Like, wait a minute, let's go back to the
what's crazy
punchline.
about it, anybody that knows me, Chris, know I'm not a flashy guy. So usually most of the time I try to hide up under a hat, as you can see. So as I'm in line, nobody noticed that I was in line.
Your name is Randy Moss.
Well, guess what? After I got off the phone, guess where I was then? They held the door open. Come on in. They told me some, come on in. I didn't really realize that we were really good until probably like week 15, week 14.
On an undefeated team?
On an undefeated team. I mean, anybody from Tom, Teddy, Vrabel, God rest his soul, Junior, Coach never gave us any smiles, no implications of, hey, guys, we're doing things right, we're doing this. It was always week in and week out of him putting us to the test.
Come in here Monday, ready to go, get back to work on Indianapolis, okay? We need to have a good week. We're in tomorrow, fellas. Last week was your week off. We're in tomorrow, all right? Nice job.
There were no days off. Tuesday was the National Football League's day off. That was our day off from the football field, but not from the game of football. So when I got to New England, there was a lot of questions that I needed answered, and he helped answer that and fulfill a lot of my dreams, and that's just going out there, being part of a team and playing football for one another.
And one of the things that nobody talks about with Randy that you just can't understate is, a team has its own chemistry. It has its own way of coming together. And Randy had an energy that he brought to the team that was just infectious.
Way to come back, man. Way to come back. Way to go, front five. Way to go, boys. How much celebrating y'all want me to do? Celebrate with us. Act like you've been there. On me.
So he came to me in the second year and said, hey, Coach, I think we need a little juice here, and we think about a Halloween party. And I said, well, look, if I schedule it, first of all, nobody will come. And Randy said, no. I'll take care of it. I'll do the Halloween party, and it'll be great for the team. And I'm like, all right.
I'll try to have Lance Allworth in their stable, pro football's finest receiver.
Allworth played 11 seasons with the Chargers and Cowboys. He won an AFL championship and a Super Bowl. And in 1978, he became the first AFL player inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Chris, what'd you like about him?
It's so hard to tell because we get highlight tapes of this guy. And so I was really enjoying watching him, but it was kind of hard to tell what kind of routes he was running because he was always so far behind the defense. All you saw was him running in the end zone. So he's catching a ball and running it in the end zone. So I don't know how fast he was, but I do know this. He had this little tippy-toe style of running the ball into the end zone. thus the nickname Bambi, but he was always behind the defense. I don't know how he did it.
Matriculating our way through the reveal list here for the wide receivers. Next up from The Ohio State University, a standout with the Browns and Dolphins, Paul Warfield is on this list. He was named the NFL's all-decade wide receiver team in the 1970s. He was on that, and he helped Cleveland win an NFL championship before winning 2 rings with the Dolphins.
I think one of the most underrated wide receivers in the history of the game, for my money. You'll never see the numbers because they didn't throw the ball at the time the way they do in the game today. But the routes and the ability to get in and out of cuts, it was just so effective. But one of the great receivers of all time.
Well, his coach in Miami is the latest coach to be revealed on the NFL 100 list. The 8 we've already revealed over the past month are on your screen right now. The penultimate coach that we're about to name on the all-time team is a man who, again, was perfect in Miami back in 1972. He coached in 6 Super Bowls, winning 2 of them. He is the all-time winningest coach in the history of the NFL, Don Shula.
He becomes the all-time winningest coach in the history of the National Football League.
347 wins. Let's start with that.
Right.
It's a lot. You know, I remember Coach Shula. I would watch Coach Shula's TV show every week with the Baltimore Colts growing up in Annapolis, and Corralling the Colts was the show. And I always look forward to Coach Shula's breakdowns and his interviews with the star players there.
We started out, we had some great licks hit. This is what we want to see. Great by the defense, great by the offense.
I think Coach Shula really kind of set the standard for all of us that followed. 347 wins. I mean, that says it all.
He had the greasy teams where they were Zonka and Kick and Morris, and they ran the football predominantly and played defense. And then flipped it right around and had Dan Marino and Duper and Clayton, and had the same sort of ability to take that passing team and win with it. So I like Bill, to be honest with you. He can take a lot of different styles of play and win with all of them.
So that leaves one more spot on the coaches list. We will reveal that coach later on in this program, as well as welcome Randy Moss and Jerry Rice back to welcome in person another member of the wide receiver team. But when we come back, 3 more wide receivers revealed via Bill Belichick film. Time to break down some wide receiver film. First up is the man they called Crazy Legs, Elroy Hirsch. A first-round pick of the Cleveland Rams in 1945, Hirsch was named to the NFL's all-decade team of the 50s and the NFL's 50th anniversary team. Now he's on the 100th. Coach, why?
First of all, his nickname, Crazy Legs, it's pretty easy to see why he's called that. You can see he's got very good hands here handling this punt.
How do you tackle that?
They just go straight to the side.
Wow.
I've never seen anybody run like that. The Rams converted him from a running back to a wide receiver, and as you can see in these clips, he's very fast. Nobody's catching him from behind. He had a big year in 51. He had 1,495 yards receiving. So for only his second, really third year of playing wide receiver. And again, a combination of a lot of deep passes and also some exceptional runs with the ball on shorter catch and run plays.
Our next wide receiver was a charter member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's Don Hutson, a 2-way star with the Packers. He led the NFL in receiving in 8 of his 11 seasons and won the Joe F. Carr Trophy as the National Football League's MVP in 1941 and 1942, and may just have the best nickname on the NFL 100 all-time team, the Alabama Antelope. Don Hutson.
Well, Rich, a lot of interesting things about Hutson. First of all, he played end at the University of Alabama. Bear Bryant was the other end. Hutson was, as you can see his skills here, he had great hands, and he was the first route runner in the National Football League.
That guy right there, in my mind, probably changed the wide receiver position as much as anybody who's ever played.
No question. He absolutely changed the wide receiver position. There were no split-out receivers, and there were no routes designed for receivers. It was kind of go deep or go over or go out. This is the Notre Dame box. So Curly Lambeau played 1 year at Notre Dame.
Can we go over this just a little bit, this shift here? So literally, you don't know who the quarterback is going to be, or...
That's right. And whether the formation, whether the strength of the formation is to the left side or if they shift over to the right side. The thing about Lambeau was he modified this offense to take advantage of Hutson, who's at the top of the screen there, number 14. But you can see here Hudson going up for the ball. He's got strong hands, very athletic guy.
And the last one is somebody that I know you're quite familiar with, Raymond Berry. He's a member of this team. Drafted in the 20th round by the Colts in 1954. He would go on to catch a then record 631 passes for 9,275 yards and 68 touchdowns in his 13-year career.
Of course, he had a great quarterback with Unitas, so that was an excellent combination.
Unitas firing a sideline pass to Raymond Berry. That sets up a scoring mound.
He had the toe drag swag before anybody knew what it was, too. You watch him play after play after play, the number of times he makes a catch and gets his feet down in bounds, diving usually out of bounds. That combination was amazing.
Just so confident on the sideline that, you know, Unitas knew if he could just get the ball over the defender, Berry would catch it and come down inbounds.
How could you make a catch into that crowd?
Right, yeah.
I mean, look at where they are.
And Unitas had tremendous confidence in Berry. This is the type of play that, as a kid, when you played catch, one guy was Raymond Berry, the other guy was Johnny Unitas. And if you were Raymond Berry, you made those kind of catches in your mind, and you know that's really what the Colts were about. It was Unitas to Berry. It was a tremendous combination.
When we come back, Jerry Rice and Randy Moss return to introduce another in-studio member of the wide receiver class of the NFL 100 all-time team.
Getting you all set for the NFL 100 all-time team reaction show coming your way at the top of the hour. I'm Chris Rose, joined by a guy who's on the squad.
Yes, I made it. Mama, we made it.
Yeah, we're not talking DBs. We're talking wide receivers. You guarded a few. Jerry Rice, you competed against him in practice as well.
Oh, my God. Let me tell you something. The games are one thing. But if you could dig that film up and to see how we went at it in practice, oh, baby, they were better than the games.
Should I even ask who won those battles?
You should have to ask that question.
Can I ask it?
Yeah.
Who won the battles?
I'm not going to say it was a draw. It wasn't a draw.
Are we going to have to contact Jerry and bring him back in?
Jerry is arguably, this is the first time I'm going to say arguably, because we have a show that's going to feature some of the greatest of all time, the greatest receiver to ever play the game.
We've got one of the other 10 getting ready to join us in studio. Also, Steve Smith.
Belichick still with us here, and rejoining us, Randy Moss and Jerry Rice. And there's 4 more to go, including one right here with us in the NFL Films NFL 100 all-time team studio. Larry Fitzgerald, the 3rd overall pick of the 2004 NFL Draft.
Fitzgerald makes the grab. Touchdown, Cardinals.
Fitz currently ranks in the top 3 all-time in both receptions and receiving yards.
No player ever at his age has had 100 catches and 1,000 yards in the same season. Larry Fitzgerald, the future Hall of Famer, the greatest Arizona Cardinal ever.
Let's go Jacket all the way, dog. Go Jacket.
Larry Fitzgerald, number 2 all-time on the NFL receptions list.
And good to see you, Larry Fitzgerald.
Good to see you as well, Rick.
How are you?
I'm doing outstanding.
Congratulations on the team.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be with you guys, man. Grew up looking up to and admiring these men.
I haven't checked with research, but I think you were the only member of this team who borrowed a car for prom from another member of this team. That guy right over there. Can you tell us this story, please, back in the day in Minnesota, Larry?
Well, I mean, me even being here, Randy has a large part to do with that. I'll never forget the first time I met him in 1998 up in Mankato, and I'm a ball boy, and you know, obviously, I was a huge fan, followed his career at Marshall, and finally getting a chance to meet him, and he would come to my high school football games. I mean, like, you have no idea, you know, the confidence he instilled in me, and that gave me the belief that I could go out there and achieve anything I put my mind to.
But what about the prom, Larry?
So, I mean, he had a 1990. What was that? It was a 99.
What, do you remember
it was a 99 BMW. It was the new 740 Li, and it was the coldest car out. And I had the courage to go ask him, and he kind of looked at me like, well, why are you asking me this? But in his way, he told me yes. And the kind of stuff that this man did behind the scenes for people with no notoriety, no fanfare, was so inspirational to me. And I'm one of the many charity cases that Randy looked out for.
When I first laid eyes on Larry, I don't really know what came over me, but I was seeing his dad as a beat writer for the Vikings, so knowing that was his son and just seeing how much he wanted to play catch and how he would field the punts and things like that. So, you know, I remember a brief story, and we were invited to his high school football game, and I don't know who they were playing, but I remember going out there. We just had T-shirts on. And if you know anything about Minnesota, the state bird in Minnesota is
mosquito.
There you go. The state bird is the mosquito in Minnesota.
I didn't know that. I'm learning a lot.
That's the state bird, Jerry. So we go out to one of his games. And, you know, they got the lights on. The lights were just covered. You could barely see. There's just so many mosquitoes out there. So we couldn't even enjoy his game. We're out there just flapping and fanning. We got our hats and stuff over. So, God rest her soul, his mother brings us over the off.
Oh, okay.
So she's like, I seen y'all over here, and I want y'all to watch my baby's game. Here, y'all take this, and y'all can keep it. So we sprayed it everywhere on our shoestrings and everything. The off settled in. We were able to see. I know it's a little crazy story, but just being able to be outside of the Vikings facility and go support, you know, basically our very own.
He didn't support me at all one time. In this studio on Inside the NFL, in the history of the NFL, has there been a worse playoff team than what Arizona looks like? So now I'm world famous in Arizona. Now Knucklehead over here goes on one of those runs for the ages.
Yes.
That playoff run that you had, that was the most remarkable run of football I've ever seen from a wideout.
Every seat full as the Cardinals embark on their first postseason in a decade. It's a flea flicker. Warner gonna throw deep. Near side going for Fitz. He's in double coverage. It doesn't matter.
Larry Fitzgerald, deadly and single-minded of purpose, stabs the ball out of the air.
Warner with ton of time, throwing right side. Fitz open, caught at the 5, heading for the pylon. Touchdown, Cardinals! Has time, looks left, throws over the middle to Fitz. Caught inside the 5, breaks a tackle, and Fitz is in. Warner going deep, airing it out, middle of the field. Fitz is there, he caught it at the 10, at the 5, touchdown! They cannot deal with Larry Fitzgerald. Warner takes, back to throw, fade, left side Fitzgerald. He got it! Touchdown! His third of the day! Super Bowl 43, here we come.
You have all of these great wide receivers that have went to the postseason, but they didn't do it like the way he did. I just need to hear, you know, from that performance, like, what were you feeling?
Well, you know what, Randy, I really wasn't feeling anything, nothing different than what I had been doing. Nothing. The stars just aligned for me that those 4 weeks. I had a lot of great guys around me that, you know, put me in position to be successful. I just did my part.
I think during that Super Bowl, I saw you run away from someone, take one to the house. And he was not one of those, you know, fast guys.
Right.
Yeah, no 4.25 or anything like that. No, but, you know, he was able to catch the ball, and he had football speed to get to that end zone.
Warner to pass with time, fires over the middle to Fitz, caught at the 45, 50, Fitz is loose, 40, 30, goodbye! Cardinals lead! Touchdown! Larry Fitzgerald! A 64-yard touchdown pass by Warner to Fitzgerald, and the Cardinals lead Super Bowl 43.
I think the most impressive thing of your career, when Bruce Arians came in as your head coach, and you'd always been the wide out. You'd been the guy out wide. And yet you had the Hines Ward role that he wanted you to come inside and block. Mm-hmm. And your blocking, in my mind, finalized the fact that you were on this team.
Boy, Fitz with a great block downfield.
Not very many times do you talk about a wide receiver blocking. Cam Chancellor, the enforcer for Seattle.
Well, I think there's always like a defining moment in everybody's career. I look back when he left San Francisco, people were saying, you know, can he still be the dominant player that he's always been throughout his career? When Randy, you know, the 2 years in Oakland, they were down years compared to what he did in Minnesota. People were saying, is Randy still the prolific, dominant pass catcher he's always been? And what they did is they just exceeded expectations. Nothing changed. They just needed to change the scenery to showcase what they were really capable of doing. I never had to leave my team, but my coach changed the position I was at. So I was in that uncomfortable place, and it makes you dig deep. It makes you really find out what you're made of when you're tested in that fashion, because it was really the first time in all of my career that I ever been challenged. Somebody telling me I can't do what I've always done. And, you know, you have two options at that point. You lay down or you fight, and that's the only options you have.
As a coach, you always talk about toughness, you know, and physical toughness and mental toughness. But I think one of the toughest spots in football is to do what you guys do, and that's go catch a pass in a critical situation when you know you're going to get blown up. Mm-hmm. That's one thing to catch one over your shoulder on a 50-yard touchdown, to catch one on a sideline, step out of bounds and get a first down. It's another one to go in there and know that you're going to get lit up by whoever, and then you got to catch it. Like, tell me what that's like, because that's a special kind of toughness. It's one thing to hit somebody. It's another thing to know you're going to get cleaned out.
Had a pretty good Thanksgiving Day against the Cowboys in 1998 as a rookie.
I sat there and watched it all.
You were banged up?
He murdered us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay. Hey, we've left an empty chair, by the way, because one of the 10 receivers on the NFL 100 all-time team is getting ready to join us. I don't know, is that for Cris Carter?
We should bring in the guys that didn't make it, because they're going to be mad, and we had like a better program for that.
But the guy, he's ready to...
Oh, no, he's unbelievable.
He's great.
The guy sitting here is unbelievable. I grew up watching him. He was on my electric football set.
Oh, really?
I used to keep throwing him the ball.
The one when you turn it on, the players go all over the place?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He'll be ready to join us. Steve Smith Sr., he's kind of shy.
Steve Smith, yeah.
We'll see if he has an opinion. We'll see you soon.
All right, so those are the 8 men we've already revealed as the members of the wide receiver group on the all-time team tonight. 3 of them are still with us here, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, and Larry Fitzgerald. And we're about to introduce your final 2 teammates on the team as voted by the Blue Ribbon panel of experts that included you, sir, Bill Belichick. Steve Largent is the 9th member to be announced here on this program. The Seahawks legend played 14 years in the Pacific Northwest, caught passes in 177 straight games, and at the time of his retirement, he held the career records for receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns.
And that'll do it. A new NFL record for Steve Largent here in the Great Northwest. This place will erupt.
And also another number 80 of note on the team. What'd you think of Steve Largent?
Unbelievable. Not only a great football player, but just a great individual. And I remember when I went to Seattle, he walked up to me, he said, I want you to wear number 80. It just blew me away. And you can't say no to a legend. I took a lot of backlash because of that, but he wanted me to wear his jersey, but he was just that type of receiver.
NFL Films is going to showcase, in my mind, his talent. Everything was a different move. He was the guy, you could watch his eyes. Like, he would look back for the ball and get the guy to turn around, and then here comes the comeback route out of it. Every single thing was perfection. Probably the closest may have been Raymond Berry back in the day that, you know, wasn't going to wow you with the athleticism, but he was going to get open because he had something creative that he had come up with and had practiced and practiced and practiced and was always open.
Well, that leaves one last spot on the wide receiver team, and that last spot goes to Indianapolis Colt Marvin Harrison, who played 13 seasons in Indianapolis, an 8-time Pro Bowler. He helped lead the Colts to a victory in Super Bowl 41, and of course teamed with Peyton Manning to form the most prolific quarterback-receiver tandem in the history of our league.
Peyton looks for the quick throw, lobs it in the corner to Marvin. The 86 touchdown pass from Manning to Marvin Harrison.
That breaks the record held by tied with Steve Young and Jerry Rice.
It was very difficult to vote for wide receivers on this in this project. It was so difficult. But here's what I said. As a defensive coach, as a head coach, if I double covered a guy every single time we played him, I'm putting him on a list. Okay, so that's you, and Marvin Harrison. Double coverage, we're getting beat by somebody else. Single coverage was really, and Manning knew it too. If you single covered him, he's going right to him.
Now a quick drop and a fade to Harrison, and Harrison is able to make the catch for the touchdown. One-on-one with Asante Samuel.
He looks out there. He had a run call. He checked out of the run, saw tight coverage, man-to-man on Marvin Harrison, and that's where he went.
If we were going to play the Colts or something like that, before warm-ups, they would spend like hours out there just going through the route tree. This was way before the actual game.
Before every game, Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison come out and they run the entire passing tree. You know, these are the shorter ones, these are the middle ones, and this is a deep one. Then they finish up with this one. Yeah, that was the last one.
You know, when I used to look at the chemistry between Peyton and Marvin, there's really one play that really stood out to me, and that was that stretch play that Peyton would show that ball to an outside run, pull it back. Marvin Harrison would go in there like he's blocking the safety, and I said to myself, every time Peyton Manning and them would show that stretch run with Edgerrin James pull it back out, you best believe it's Marvin Harrison going for a 50, 60-yarder plus.
Manning on 1st and 10 from his own 20. Gives it to Edgerrin, fakes to Edgerrin. Now look, he's got Marvin wide open. He throws it to him. He's got it to 40, 30, 20, cuts inside, 10, 5, touchdown, 80 yards. Manning to Marvin Harrison.
Ike Taylor is in man-to-man coverage on Marvin Harrison. He's watching Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning gives that play-action fake, and that was enough for Marvin Harrison to get by Ike Taylor. And I'll tell you, if I was guarding Marvin Harrison, I would never look into the backfield. I would never watch Edgerrin James. I would never worry about the run.
That 141 catch season he had was a lot of catches. Was, I mean, unbelievable. And he probably caught 40 of them on under routes. And you knew it was coming, and you just couldn't stop it. There was no route he could not run.
That's it for the wide receiver group. So the 10 are in. We've got one more coach to announce here on this show. We figured, why not with you right here, Jerry Rice. This man took the 49ers franchise to new heights with his West Coast offense. He helped propel the 49ers to 3 titles in a 10-year span, the legendary Bill Walsh.
He was not only a coach, he was like a father to me, and he took me under his wing.
I love you.
And he gave me the opportunity to just live a dream. And he could be your best friend, he could be your worst enemy. And he never let you felt like you had arrived. I had a game, a Monday night game against the Los Angeles Rams. I had over 10 catches, over 200-something yards, 3 touchdowns. And Bill called me up to his office, and I'm thinking, okay, he's going to call me up and pat me on my back. He said, great job. He called me up and he said, I want more from you.
What'd you think when, after that stat line, the coach called you and said, I need more from you?
Yeah, you know what? I was very shocked, but I noticed that Ronnie Lott and also Joe Montana, they were walking up the stairs, too. He knew how to get everything out of his players.
The number one thing I always felt like preparing for Coach Walsh was the first 15 plays. His team knew those plays. They knew what 6 was, they knew what 7 was, they knew what 8 was, and they could execute them very quickly and with a high efficiency because they practiced them over and over. Defensively, if you went out there like we did in 1984, my daughter was born, we played the 49ers Monday Night Football. And, you know, that's when I really found out. That's when I really got drilled by him. He went out, he came in there and he scripted, you know, the first 15 plays, and we were down 21-0 in the middle of the first quarter.
Montana rolling out, making it look awfully easy.
Amanda was, you know, about to be born that night, and I'm thinking to myself, I might as well leave right now because, and so I barely made it for, you know, for her birth after the game, but that's the way it was with the 49ers. If they got you early on that script and they got you going and then you're like one play behind or one series behind, it could snowball and it could be just, you know, it could be brutal.
Any final thoughts on being a member of the NFL 100 team, Randy Moss?
We all have different upbringings, and small country town boy from Rand, West Virginia, being able to be on the National Football League's 100th all-time team, that's a blessing, man. I'm very honored to be here.
Larry?
Yeah, it's just, I'm humbled beyond belief. You know, you dream and hope to one day make it to the National Football League, but to be thought of in this light is something that you can never imagine.
Yeah, I think we compete against each other, but you can tell the respect here. And, you know, to be a part of the 100 all-time team, you know, it's something I'll never forget, and I'm just honored to be a part of it.
Well, we're honored to have you here. Thanks for you three being here. That'll wrap it up for this edition of the NFL 100 all-time team. 90 in the books. We've got 10 more guys to go. Next week, Bill Belichick, Cris Collinsworth, and I will be back with the quarterbacks to wrap up this 6-week journey.
Look who's grabbing a spot on the NFL 100 all-time team. 2 legendary coaches, 10 players, 20 amazing hands. We'll hand out plenty of accolades and wonder why certain receivers did not catch on. That's over the next 60 minutes on NFL Network.